And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. I don't know, was it me or did you notice this morning not quite as humid when I went out? It was 72 when I got in here about 5:30, but it wasn't as humid as it's been being.
Feeling pretty good, Lanny. Little closer to fall.
Friday, 81 is the high.
Yeah.
Now, as long as it ain't 90 when you start real games next week, but it's going to be warm tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have a scrimmage at home tomorrow night against
Hickory
at 6.
Yep.
And we'll do JV varsity. And Shelby was looking for one, and Coach Vernon reached out to them to try to see if they wanted to come do a try. But I don't think he'd either heard back last night or they had found another one. So we were.
And then you got another one Friday night at Mooresville
versus
East Forsyth.
West
Forsyth,
which is where Coach Byrne used to coach.
Okay.
Yep.
So getting started, we'll cover on WLON the I call it the Lincoln County Jamboree. It's at Lincoln High School.
Yeah.
It starts at 5:30.
Yeah.
We've got a program that runs until 6, so we'll pick that up at 6 o'clock. And it's not a football broadcast, just talking about some teams and players. I'm assuming it'll be Mike and David will have that broadcast on Friday night. And then we'll get started with real action the following week. And I don't have my schedule in front of me, or I'd tell you who it was. But football is just around the corner.
Yep.
Everything's going. Morning, Richie. Morning, Milton. Richie said we're supposed to see a cool down last weekend, but we really – this weekend. Yeah, it's supposed to be a little nicer this weekend than we've been having. So I'm looking forward to that, no doubt. And I think a little bit lower humidity. One of the things that has surprised me, and I don't remember who I mentioned this to, and I'm not really a weather nut, but I am. The tropics have really been calm this summer. We haven't really had a name storm, anything close. Early in the season, we had a little something way down in the Gulf.
Right.
Now, I saw this, I think it was this morning when I was watching the news, there's a bunch of things rolling off the coast of Africa. But for you that don't understand, as big thunderstorms roll off the coast of Africa and come across the ocean, that's how they build up to be hurricanes.
Right.
So, I thought this season was supposed to be a little above average, but we haven't seen a whole lot so far now. When fall gets here, that's kind of when it happens, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see. The big story yesterday, everybody was talking about it, is Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the drug, but whatever it is, it did not violate drug policy. But they said that it made him a better teammate, a better man, a better lover. And that was the quoting, kind of. But he went down for a treatment in Peru. It's a psychoactive beverage native to South America. It's often used for religious, ritualistic, and medicinal purposes. It wouldn't have triggered a positive test result on either the substance abuse or performance-enhancing policies collectively bargained by the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, if nothing else, he is a very different and unique individual. I mean, the longer his career goes, it's almost like the weirder he gets. He just he really beats to a different drummer. Not anything taking away anything from his career and what he's accomplished, but he's just really different. And I'm not sure that I'm not sure his focus is always on team as much as his focus seems to be on Aaron Rodgers.
So I think that actually by focusing on him, it makes his team better because, and the reason I say that is, and I think you're right in what you're saying, but I think what he's done is because the Packers, are always wanting to draft the next quarterback or, wanting to go do this or trade his number one wideout because they can't get things worked out. He feels like that if he's his very best, then they will be their very best. And he can only focus on the things that he can control. And so I think that's why he does what he does. Brett Favre was, not a mentor to him, even though he did mentor him. He made that very clear. I don't think Brett was wrong in saying that. I think what he was doing was saying, look, this is the NFL. I'm not your daddy.
Well, and you don't want to teach your style. You want whoever it is to accentuate their skills and attributes, and they may not be the same thing.
Right, and they weren't, to a degree. Favre was not real calculated. He was more
gunslinger.
Like he, jokingly he said, "Well, I didn't even know what a nickel defense was." I mean, okay, whether he did or not, fine. But the point is, Aaron Rodgers does, and he can manipulate about anything that you put there at him. And what he does is he turns players that may be doubtful or average at best, and allows them to be great through his playmaking abilities. And his weirdness is part of the thing that intrigues so many people about why he's as great as he is. And I've got to be honest with you. All the great people in the world, when we talk about athletes and everything, they have that thing to them that makes them a little different. And that's what allows them to be, to achieve greatness, at a consistent level. So he is a little strange, but I mean, he's on point every year.
I get that. I get that, but he's not perfect. But he never takes one for the team. I've never heard him. Most quarterbacks, your really prolific quarterbacks give the credit to everybody else when they win. And they take full responsibility when they lose.
Right.
Not Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think he can, because if he did, he would be lying, because he is doing about everything. And he is, if they lose, most time it's not on him. It's because they don't have a good defense or their special teams aren't good. If they win, it's because he made it happen. Now, my personality, yours, would not allow us to be that way. But I think what basically he's telling the Packers, is, look, you've never gotten me any help since I've been here, ever. We've had a couple of good teams. Yeah, we won a Super Bowl, and people want to chastise me about, not winning Super Bowls. Look what I've had around me. Look what I've had to deal with. Instead of going and getting a great wide receiver, you drafted a quarterback. Stupidest thing I've not ever seen, but why? I'm sitting there watching that, and I'm like, why are they doing this? Why? And I'm sure that Love kid's a good player, but why? The guy's going to be an NFL MVP candidate the next.
But don't you think they were concerned about, because he's, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not. You never know what his next thought's going to be, that they were concerned that he just wouldn't be there.
Okay, the whole point of that is sit down and talk to him. They said they were going to let him be involved and have a say in it. And, it's different in professional sports. It's different than amateur. In amateur, you've got to be 100% team focused. You got to do this. You got to do that. In professional football, this is a job. Basically, what you have is you have a CEO of a team. Okay, and he's not allowed to make any decisions, but yet you want him to go out and do all the playmaking stuff. What did Parcells say? Hey, you want me to do the shop? Something about buying the groceries. You got to let me buy the groceries. Talking about I got to have a hand in this.
If you want me to cook the meal, you got to let me buy the groceries
and go shop for him, right? And the whole thing is, I do not blame him at all. Now things get bad in the media, and he said this, she said that, all this. But you have a guy like that. First of all, sit down and have a conversation. Deepen the relationship, all right? He's not asking to own the Packers, because nobody does. The fans do, right? Like you do. You have a share in them.
One, yeah.
But, hey, sit down, have that conversation. Get to know, deepen that relationship. That way you don't have to guess what he's thinking. It's incredible. It really
we've hit a nerve with Jason Thomas, so I don't hear from him until I talk about his beloved Packers, and he is a diehard Packer fan, but
my dad is too.
They said, I hope he takes it again, whatever makes him a better person. I hope he's taking it. He will really need it this year with lack of experience at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
He said the 2 Super Bowls the Pack has won since Bart Starr years, the defense was top 10. That hasn't been the case in other years, shows that he needs help. The only thing
100%.
that I'm going to say, there are other quarterbacks out there that did not have top-tier talent. They created top-tier talent.
That's what he's done.
And the two of them that come to mind immediately is Tom Terrific and Peyton Manning. Those guys made receivers better. Does Aaron Rodgers do that?
Yeah, he absolutely did it with Adams, and he does it with the other guys around him. And the problem is that they can't stop anybody. And at some point, you're not going to be able to outscore everybody. And it's not necessarily an offensive thing. It could be a special teams one. I mean, I think Jason's 100% right. It's a great post. It just baffles me. Like, when I think of, Tom Brady, Belichick knew what he was doing. He had a long, tall, skinny kid that wasn't very athletic but was a great distributor. I teach him to take care of the football, and I put a great defense around him, and we're able to run the football. Okay, Super Bowls. Same thing with Peyton Manning. People talk about how much he threw the football, and he did. But they had a great power running game too.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a great tight end. Okay, in what was that guy's name? He's number 44 that played for him at Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
great tight end. And, the defense there, they always had one or two, all-pro or, all-world, defensive ends. And their secondary was always really good. And you never had to worry about the special teams because they went out and went out and traded for a guy that won Super Bowls with the Patriots.
Dallas Clark. Thank you, Cabbage.
Thank you. I just don't see that with Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And
it just seems like there's always a list of excuses out of that franchise.
There has to be. There has to be. I mean, I don't think they're well, I mean, they are, but I think there are more reasons than excuses because every year we watch him and we watch how well he plays. Now, I think Brady should have got the MVP last year, not him. That's okay. I mean, that doesn't mean that both didn't have a great year and deserve it. But this is insane. What they're doing and why they're doing what they're doing. It's insane.
Cave said even when Peyton won the championship with the Broncos, Peyton was there to be a game manager.
Right.
Defense and running game was the backbone of the championship that year. And that's true.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what Peyton has done most of the time inside of his career. With the exception, I don't think that Indianapolis ever really had that top-tier defense that I felt like they should have had with Tony Dungy as the head coach.
Yeah.
Because that was his forte. And Tony Dungy's one of the few NFL coaches that was a defensive coach that was able to create and win with offense that most defensive coaches can't. Chad said, look at college. You may win a lot and score points, but championships are won on defense and able to run the ball. NFL, you throw it 50 times a game. Yeah. It is different. It is different. And it's always that the old saying was always offense wins games, defense wins championships. But it's skewed now to where you still got to put up a ton of points.
Yeah.
And one of those, and this was something I was going to mention anyway, and I mentioned it, and we'll take a break. NFL asked on-field officials to focus on illegal contact fouls. And the illegal contact foul is when you contact a receiver after 5 yards when the quarterback still has the ball and is still in the pocket. Now, if the ball is in the air, of course, that's pass interference.
Right.
But they're continuing to really skew the offensive rules to where it makes it tough for a defense to play. Officials flagged illegal contact on average 97 times per season between 2002 and 20.
Right.
Last year, it dropped to 36, a third. So the NFL Competition Committee, to include illegal contact among its points of clarification, which used to be points of emphasis, which means you're going to have more calls. Not any different than Roger Goodell didn't get the ruling he wanted for Deshaun Watson, so I'm going to appeal it, and let's see if you can get it right. Same thing. You don't have to specifically say I want more calls, but there will be more calls because you've kind of you've made that an understanding. Let's just say it that way.
And I think what we saw last year in the NFL was indicative of society. You know, the rules were broken last year with contact down the field, but we marginalized.
But isn't there a penalty on every play?
It wasn't really that bad. You know, he really didn't touch him a lot, and that's what we're seeing in today's world. I say we. I'm talking third person society, whatever world. Everything is marginalized. There's no line drawn. This is right. This is wrong. Mm-hmm. It's everything. Well, you know, we marginalize. Well, it's not 100% right, but it's not really wrong either. It's like hand checking in basketball. You know, when Chad and I played against each other, you know, we weren't allowed to. You know, I mean, we could bump inside, and we did. I mean, you know, we box each other out. Mm-hmm. You know, use our hands, elbows, that kind of thing to try to do position. Now I will tell you, when I played against him in South Caldwell, I liked those guys. I wasn't real aggressive underneath. I mean, we boxed each other out with our rear ends, but we never tried to hurt each other. Now I'm gonna tell you, the other teams we played in our league, I went after them like a freaking rabid dog. But anyway, that's another story. But the point is, everything is marginalized. Then hand checking became okay in basketball, where you could bar your arm, and if they ran into it or eased up to it, then that contact was allowed. Then you could stick your hand out here like this and hold their hip, if they moved in your hip, because you have the right to this area.
Rest the hand.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, this whole thing about hurting people's feelings, and it was contact downfield, Lenny, but it really wasn't that bad. Hey, either have the rule or don't, and we need to move on.
All right, I want to come back to that though. Let me take a quick break, and then I want to come back to that and some other comments that have come in, but let me get a break in here right quick, and then we'll be right back.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
I apologize for taking so long. We had international issues that we needed to take care of right there during that break, and wanted to get those done. Let me get some comments that came in. Let's see. Jason says, starts in the front office. Green Bay has never been big on signing huge names during free agency. That's not Aaron's fault. Nothing's Aaron's fault. He's my favorite person. He's a better lover now, Jason, just in case you're wondering. Like this year, Green Bay will have a great D, but no one to throw the ball to. And he just can't get it right. I feel so sorry for him. I think he ought to be like, the Tar Heels in basketball. Just go ahead and give him the championships. He deserves it. He's taking care of his body. He's dated all the famous women in the world. So, that should be something there, I think. Green Bay's problem is they don't have an owner. That's where they have a problem.
It's just different, man. It makes it tough.
Yeah, Richie said Indy should have built defense around Freeney. If they did, they would have been a solid defense. Why are you in school, sis? Lindsay's in school.
Get out of school.
It's not
summer.
School.
Richie's got a good point, and I think the year that the Patriots beat them, and again I can't remember the year, but they're like Indianapolis defense was like off the charts, and New England just had a great game plan to beat them in the championship series.
Well, they had a lot of film on from practice.
God.
Stephen Lowe, happy birthday, my friend! Glad to have you in here this morning,
brother.
Richie said, that's like throwing gas on a fire. I don't care. Milton said, now the receivers will run over defensive backs begging for a flag. And Richie said, so they're going to emphasize illegal contact, but they can't figure out pass interference or what targeting is. All right, let me tell you what I told Ford when we went to break. Okay,
God.
when it comes to all of these penalties are strictly they're subjective to however you feel like or what the intent was. You're looking and measuring intent. Okay, so when I say that, I also, if that's going to be the case, then it needs to be considered whether that penalty was a penalty, because if it had nothing to do with the outcome of the play, why did you call it? If you make a call that has no effect, that would have had no effect on the play, and they don't do it a lot, but they do sometimes. When I know somebody's going to say, well, he could have ran down the field if he hadn't done that here and here. No, that's stupid. Sometimes the calls that are made are not just not.
I don't know, man.
Where's Lincoln Pauly when I need him? He's an official. He knows how I feel about those guys. I like the ones that know what they're doing. Jason said, now I have never said nothing is his now I never said nothing is his fault. I do blame him for losing Danica Patrick. Well, now he's got this new chick that's got one name, and she takes him to places and they do drugs that are illegal. Yeah. Yeah. He's in the Zen mood. Yeah.
He's always in the zone or zen.
Mm-hmm. Is he still somebody had what did Richie say? Richie said something about he looked like let me go back here.
Oh my God, dude.
What did you say, Richie? Richie said he looked like Cameron Poe from Con Air. So he's still sporting the ponytail, I guess. He's still got the ponytail. Is that what it is? Richie said, no, I reason to call pass interference on a DB on the other side of the field is where the pass is thrown to. Yeah, and then somebody will argue, well, that's because if he hadn't had that, the quarterback could have thrown to him. He would have been open and on and on and on. My rules in sports are like my rules for government. I want less. I don't want more. I want less, because what happens is then you start skewing things based on who's got the power. And it is really skewed to offense now because that's what people want to see. I don't. I want to see good ball on both sides. That's what I want to see.
Well, and I'm gonna go back. Chad Mullis and I played against each other, growing up, and we were playing South Caldwell football. And I mean, I'm sure he doesn't remember this, but we were playing at East Burke. It was his senior year, and he was a wideout, and Scott Parham was the quarterback. And Scott threw a quick ball, real quick, to Chad. Chad made the catch, got several yards. I think he ended up picking first down. They had a holding call. Again, I think Chad was on the left side. And again, this has been 30-some years ago. But the point is, Scott got the ball, took one step, and threw it out like a quick, just a quick hitter, whatever. They called a holding call on their right tackle. Our defensive end was outside of him. Why? It had nothing to do with the play. But I'm just giving an example. I mean, and I'm sure he remembers things, when they played and penalties and things. And I know people miss calls, but basically what you had was someone that doesn't understand, how the game within the game. Mm-hmm. And in that situation, if you can throw your flag, but you walk over and you tell the official, disregard, pick it up, wave it off, first down. Mm-hmm. And I remember that. And of course against other teams and things like that.
And that's one of the reasons they want plays to play out.
Right.
And then we'll sort it out and make sure we got it right. But if you make a quick whistle, then you've killed the play. You really don't know what it was going to be.
Yeah, and again, officials do a really good job. And
love them.
And I have.
When I grow up, I don't want to be one.
I've revamped my thinking. I'm more kumbaya now, but the whole point is trying to get it right. And I think in the NFL and in college football, they need a crew, like in the booth, like not necessarily in the booth, but at a command center that's already rerunning every play, finding out what
That's
it is.
what college does now.
And get it in
and
quick.
I love it.
And get it in quick.
And I love it. And
having the head official on the field do this in the NFL is a waste of time.
I don't understand why the NFL doesn't pick that up. That has been, I think that's been successful, and I think college does a great job of managing.
It's been a lot better.
It took a little time.
Yeah, and they got it right.
But it's better.
You,
now, sometimes I think they still question some things they shouldn't, but overall, I like it better because everything's getting looked at. I have always said, if you have review, review everything. Everything's on the table. If you can't review everything, don't review anything.
Don't do anything.
Don't pick and say, well, we can't look at that. That's not something we can look at. I don't like that. I don't like that. You got to be able to look at anything if you want to get it right. That's the law according to Lanny. Let me go. The coaches poll came out yesterday, and there's a couple on here that I don't really think they've got a shot at that top four. Now that's me, and this was USA Today's coaches poll, and of course on top was Alabama, followed by Ohio State, followed by Georgia, by Clemson. Alabama got 54 first-place votes. Ohio State got 5. Georgia got 6. Clemson and everybody below them got none. The ones that I really question about can they be there in the end, Utah is number 8. Baylor is number 10. And I'm sorry, Wolfpackers, NC State's number 13.
They're talking about NC State back in the spring. I was reading some things where some analysts felt like they were a top 5 team.
I'm just not.
I'm just saying it's just.
Oh, Texas did get one. Texas did get one first place vote. Must have been from Texas's coach. Wake Forest a 19. Now the only thing about it, I'll say this: there is at least some ACC representation this year. Clemson at 4, Notre Dame at 5. You still got to count them as ACC.
Right.
State at 13. Pitt at 16, Miami at 17, Wake at 19.
So that's 6, Lanny. You count Notre Dame. That's 6. You know a team that I think that is way underrated? I can't see the list, but I think Ole Miss,
they're here.
Lane Kiffin
but they're low. They're 24.
Is a top 10 team.
They're 24.
And I think A&M, just because of their fight with Alabama,
they're 7.
It's going to make them, top 4 or 5. I wouldn't be surprised if they're 1 and 2 if they play.
Now, I read articles yesterday that said that this writer felt like A&M was one of the most overrated teams this year.
Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I think with Coach Fisher's experience and the fact that he's got everything riled up, he had an opportunity to go off of what Saban did. And if you think about it, all these guys that coach these teams, I say all of them, the ones that always stay in the media are great CEOs. They're great entertainers. They will say things and do things regardless of, you think, well, he's trying to play this down or trying to play this up. They're always got people engaged. Engagement is so important. You can't be a great CEO and hide. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you another team that
gotta be out.
Has snuck in this year, and I think they're a year early, but go ahead and look for them, and that's going to be Southern Cal. They're ranked 15th, and Lincoln Riley is going to make a difference with them.
So I think they're going to be out of the top 25 by week 5.
Do you really? Okay.
Yep, I sure do.
The other overrated team that was in that list was Cincinnati.
Yeah,
that they felt like they were overrated as well. I think Arkansas is a little underrated at 23.
Yeah, they're very good ground game and have obviously play great defense. The thing about Cincinnati is, Lanny, they're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. And not that people didn't take them serious the last 5 to 7 years, but now you're getting to the top. And people can say what they want to. Everybody has their opinion. Getting to the top is not near as difficult as continuing to maintain that standard once you get there. Because then you have to fight and claw. Because what do people do when you get up high?
Well, you got
the
that
first
target.
Thing you do is start chip you down.
You got that target. Yeah.
Oh, they're lucky. He's lucky. You know, he got a horseshoe. When people say things like that, they have no clue about what it takes. And basically, they're saying the opposite of themselves. They're making excuses for their lack of, I mean, it is what it is.
And, Milton, that's a great point right there. Some officials want to be the star of the game. If you don't remember who the officials are, that is successful officiating.
He's right.
If the officials are not invisible to the game, umpires, any of them, if they're not invisible to the game, then I have issues with it.
I had a discussion with a gentleman last year about that. He was more worried about us being back than he was making sure that there were 7 people on the line.
Yes.
And I just went up and not in front of anybody. I said, listen. I said.
That's because it was his job, and that's the only thing he had to do.
Yeah, get back. But he wasn't getting people lined up, right? He wasn't on the line, off the line. Everything was just on. Like, listen. That last play, they had 5 people on the line, not 7. Okay? As a defensive coordinator, we don't know who's eligible, who's ineligible. And then 3 other times that first half, they had the tight end covered. 3 other times, and the guy went out for a pass. And I told him, I said, listen, instead of worried about telling everybody to get back, which we have an extra line drawn, which we are back, why don't you focus on making sure everybody gets lined up, because they've sent a tight end out twice that was covered. Why don't you be more worried about that than worried about something that doesn't matter? Well, Coach, I can't run into it. I said, look, dude, nobody over here is in the way.
If you're in the field of play, there's nobody out there.
Our kids do exactly what they're told to do, and they stay behind the line. So instead of you always, during the middle of a play, hollering, get back, you focus on the field. I'm not talking to you. You're not the head coach. I said, bro, let me tell you something. I put in over 80 hours a week coaching this football team, and I'm a volunteer. I said, you put in 4 hours a night. That's it. I said, this is extremely important. I said, I've been with these kids for 12 years, most of them since they were born.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I demand, not expect, I demand your best effort, all right? And this is not about you. It's about what we're trying to do with these young men.
That's right.
I said, hey, right is right and wrong is wrong. And I had this whole conversation with him during the timeout. I said, you need to get your head out of your rear end, okay, and focus on the things that are most important.
I used to have those discussions. I
was not rude to him.
I used most of my
timeouts.
But
when he started making it about him, that's when I cut him off.
I had an official.
He's like, I'll throw you. I said, dude, look, my life doesn't change any if I don't coach football at Maiden or if you throw me out, okay? It'll suck for our kids. We're up 20. Things will probably be fine. I said, but you're not doing the right thing for right reasons. Okay, I don't care if you throw me out or not.
All I want is to do the right thing for the kids.
Ridiculous.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing.
But you know what? That's the only one I had last year. There were 50 other ones that I encountered that I had great relationships with all throughout the game. I said to them, please come talk to me. If you see something that we're not doing or that's not right,
that needs to be addressed.
About making the game better.
That's correct.
I said, just come talk to me.
Chad said, go Dogs. That's my favorite SEC team, Chad. Cape said ACC had a down year, which is why State and Wake are so high this year. They said, hey, Dad, I got you a UNC fan that says return of the MAC. I'm excited about that.
I saw those.
Cabbage said, how do you think Oklahoma plays this year with Venables at the helm? Do you really?
Terrible. I think they have a terrible year. They were very dysfunctional during the offseason. They've had an issue coming up with the coach reading that stuff. I think they're in chaos. I think they're in disarray, and I think I love Venables, but I think he's got 2 to 3 years, and then somebody else will be in there. I just think it's too crazy. And I think Lincoln Riley knew what he was doing when he got out of there.
He left it in shambles. Is that what you're saying? Left it.
Yeah, I just think he
disorganized.
I think he knew that the tower was crumbling, and there was nothing he could do to stop it.
Yeah, and the way he left it.
And I'm a, like, when I say I'm a fan, like I am an Oklahoma, like I like, Sooner football, I have since I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. I'm not tearing them down. What I'm saying is I just think they got some issues, and I'm hopeful they'll work them out, and I'm hopeful they'll be in the top 5. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, just based off what I see and the way things go, this may be a major reset year, and if Coach Venables can't get control of this within a year or two, then they're going to make a change.
Yeah. Andrew said, dead on. If nothing else, Jimbo made sure that everyone was talking about A&M the whole off season. Yeah. My boss always said there was no bad publicity.
That's right. That's right.
People talking about you, they're talking about
you.
Right. Cabbage said Cincinnati had their Central Florida year last year. Yeah. And Rich said, just read an article in Sports Business Journal that ESPN will no longer be showing the Big Ten. Looks like it could be a Fox, CBS, or NBC deal. It's going to be an NBC deal.
I think that's why Notre Dame. I think that's why they're going to the Big Ten, because behind now I don't have any proof of this, but just
no. That's the rumor mill.
Yeah,
that's the rumor
kind of
mill.
looking at it
right.
and listening.
Yeah, no.
I think that may be what's going down.
No, that's
here.
exactly what's
that
going on.
That way, it gets them in a conference without getting out of their deal.
Well,
that's what funds
NBC's ready to put big money into it.
Well, they should, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it wouldn't surprise me if you saw 4 or 5 ACC teams go SEC and 4 or 5 ACC teams go Big Ten.
Well, I think you're going to see Carolina, Duke, and
Virginia.
Yeah, they probably go Big Ten, and then you're going to see Clemson, Florida State, Miami go SEC.
I think Carolina goes SEC, and I think
that's not who wants them.
All right, I think Carolina goes, and I think Virginia go SEC. And then I think NC State, Duke, and what was the other one we were talking about?
Wake has no home,
and
State has no home.
Syracuse, no Pitt. I'm sorry, Pitt go Big Ten. I agree. It's happening.
I agree. I'm gonna give you this Oklahoma schedule, and I don't think he has any issues until he gets to week 6.
Go ahead and go through it. I can't see
UTEP.
Okay. Yeah.
Kent State.
Yep.
Nebraska.
Put a star there.
Put a star, maybe.
Yep, maybe.
Kansas State.
Nope.
TCU. Texas is week 6.
Oh, okay. Yeah, start it. Yeah, absolutely.
Kansas. Iowa State.
Maybe.
No. Baylor may be an issue.
Baylor will be an issue, I think.
West Virginia.
Yep, that could be tough.
Oklahoma State and Texas Tech.
Where are they going to finish?
How many games they got? 12, 7-5.
I think they finished 4-8.
7-5.
I hope they finish 12-0. But I just think there's just a lot of rebuilding. And you know what? That doesn't mean it's the worst thing in the world. I mean, he's got to come in and revamp some things and do what he does. I hope they do better.
Richie said, speaking of Jimbo, remember what he said about FSU needing to upgrade facilities? Well, they're about to go into a multi-million-dollar practice and training facility.
That's great.
Andrew says Wake can go to the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
Milton said ESPN has lost so many viewers because of the political speech, and they have. Yes. They've gotten away from sports. And people tune to ESPN for sports, not for your political views.
Plus, it's things. There's always going to be a degree of politics and about everything. And obviously, people that are true sports fans don't want that. That's why they watch sports, to get away from all that.
Yep.
But I think the narrative is what regardless of what people believe or don't believe, when you have someone that's tuning in to watch a specific thing, and then all of a sudden narratives are put in, doesn't mean they're right or wrong. Mm-hmm. But that's not why they're watching. So that means somebody's trying to press upon you what they believe.
I've always said that. I don't want to hear commentators' opinion on political issues during a sporting event.
See, this is the thing.
Go on the Today Show.
If you watch
go on
Bible
CBS
Network,
Good Morning.
Or you watch, any of the preachers on TV that have large audiences, you're tuning in to hear those
That's correct.
things, okay? So it's not really bothering people when they tune in that things are being preached and talked about and reinforced and this, that, and the other. When you turn into something that you're watching, but yet something else is coming in from it, or they're trying to spin it to make it look like something, that's not why.
And same thing with concerts and everything else. That's not,
If I want a political spin on things, then I will watch, like MSNBC, Fox News, One America.
And if these sports personalities have something that's really worth contributing, they'll get picked up by these networks.
And they have.
To hear what they say.
Look at Nate Burleson with CBS this morning.
Yeah.
Does a great job.
Lindsay
But,
said
you
she
know.
can't imagine Carolina, Duke, NC State being in separate conferences.
Yeah, I
it's
know,
it's
Lindsay.
happening.
I know.
Somebody
I can't
asked me
even-
the other day,
It's crazy.
what happens to the ACC? The ACC is gone. Within 2 years, the ACC is gone.
We've got Lenny. No, you say 2, I say within 3 to 5, they will have to dismantle, and there's likely with some of these non-football schools or smaller schools that maybe don't play football a lot, they'll have their own basketball type.
Well,
league.
there needs to be
And
a
then-
football organization, and they need to get back to regional on basketball. Is what they need to do.
The greatest issue is going to be how they navigate Title IX when
Yeah,
they do this. And I think that I think it can be done.
Well, the thing of it is,
made sure
football, they can do it with football because there is not a complementary female sport
right,
to
but the
football.
problem is if you separate football and you don't include Title IX into it, then a lot of the funding, goes away.
It's going to be
for,
taken out of the college
like
ranks.
baseball, track.
It's going to be taken out of the college
But
ranks.
you
That's
understand
what's
what I'm
going
saying.
to happen. Yeah.
So they got to find a way to make sure that because there's some schools, Laney, like Tennessee and UConn, and South Carolina that play women's basketball that can fund their program or get close to it, right? But for a majority of the places,
I know. Yeah.
and I'm talking about baseball,
Softball,
softball, track,
Yep.
volleyball. I mean, it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. Not necessarily just Title IX itself, but maybe the non-major revenue sports. Okay,
Yeah.
that all these experiences are incredibly important.
Sure.
For developing people and allowing you to have connections. I talk about with Quinn, my son all the time. The relationships that I developed at East Carolina with my friends and people that I played ball with or people that I had classes with that played other sports or were part of organizations there on campus. Those are lifelong and deepening. And had I not had the opportunity to, play sport in college, I very well could have been working in a mill until they moved them to Mexico 3 years later.
People that don't,
it's
the people that
incredible.
haven't gotten to college yet or don't go to college, there's a very real statement out there that's where you really meet your lifelong your lifelong friends. Is
Right.
college.
Right, it's not high
You still
school.
have a few high school, but
Yeah,
you're
it's-
really
but it's
your
not.
deep ones will go.
And the reason you say that is because of relationships.
Andrew said, how much of this conference realignment junk do you think influenced Coach K to go ahead and step away? I think
He
that
was
and
done.
NIL
He was done.
and the same thing with Roy.
He was done.
And
They needed to be. They
because
did their
they don't want
run
to
in
deal with
their
that.
era.
And they don't want to do it
and
the
was
way it's being
perfect.
done now.
The way
Yeah.
that they both went out was absolutely perfect.
Yep.
When John Thompson went out many, many years ago, the era that he was in, it was over, just like Dean Smith's.
Yep.
Frank McGuire years and years ago. They did it
Mm-hmm.
in their era, the way they were supposed to. They did
Mm-hmm.
it right. So many people benefited, not just the players that played for them,
Yeah.
and not just those families, but all the people that worked the games, that got
Yep.
to see the games. John Thompson. Laney, I know we got to go, but you and I could do a whole show on that guy.
Oh, I know.
Maybe a whole week. The things that he did for college basketball and the awareness that he brought. All right, it was
And the
incredible.
contributions that he made to the players,
Yes,
the way that
I
he
mean,
touched the players that played for him.
and the fan base, like when my dad was a huge, Bobby Knight, Dean Smith, and John Thompson, and it had nothing to do with really, how they coached, but more about what they did for their players.
Yeah.
Bobby Knight's thing is, well, I don't like what he says, and I don't like him choking people. Well, I get that, okay, but the point is, most of the players that played for him, they wouldn't trade that experience for anything because he demanded, not said you should.
What were you in it for?
Must
be
your best you every day.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then I'm gonna,
That's right. I'm going to choke you down.
Coach K, Dean, Coach Smith, Coach Thompson. It's just, man.
Yeah.
Golly.
Let me
It's
get
great
you out of
stuff.
here. All right, guys. Have a great day. Back tomorrow. Big man's got to go. See you guys.